And one fish, two fish, and one fish, two fish, and a red fish, blue fish, and a red fish, blue fish. All right, and a red fish, blue fish. All right, which is a go. Twitch a go go. Do that. All right, I'm fine. Fine. It's fine. What are you? You're a fly. Okay. Let's double check YouTube. Let's double check YouTube. Okay, YouTube is go. Twitch is go. We are good to go. Closed captions have been turned on. And it is Waffle and Peach Pie Day. So happy National Waffle and Peach Pie Day. We are going to work a little bit on the graduation outfit. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll start a couple of vampire outfits. I'm thinking I'm going to try to do two, and I'll send one over the CG Bites, one over to Daz. We'll try to do the Daz one first, and then the CG Bites. I'm thinking Daz is going to be kind of a dress with big floppy sleeves kind of thing. I'm going to do I'm going to cannibalize the witch boots I did, not last year, but the year before, I think, and make a couple of versions of that. The thigh, I'm going to do a thigh version of that. That'll go with a bodysuit loosely based off of Gina Davis from Transylvania 5000. So that's going to kind of be the bodysuit. I don't think I'm going. I don't know if I'm going to do a cape with that. Cape might be a little much, but it might look nice. She had a cape in that, and I don't know if she wore boots or what. I couldn't find any pictures of what kind of shoes she had on. And I'm probably going to just kind of go with that idea and then take a left at Albuquerque with it. And then I kind of was looking at Shein for dresses, and I saw something that I might turn into a vampire dress. It'll have a big collar and big flouncy sleeves, and probably low cut with straps. And I'm thinking it'll drop down to nearly the knees. We'll scallop it out a bit, and that'll get calf boots or shin boots, something like that. No, Charles, I'm going to make a cape. It's the same as me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking. Well, I mean, I did capes, but the one she had actually connections on her arms, so she could do that. The cape would come out. So I'm thinking of doing maybe a connection to the sleeve, tie it in the back, and but I don't know. We'll see. Anyhow, we're going to work on the. And Charles is here. Hey, Charles. And with that, we're going to work on the gown for a little bit. So I'm going to get that launched. It's the graduation gown. We're working on the graduation gown. I'm going to do some special morphs. Is the plan for that? I made some decent progress, and then I got to do a bunch of material files. I'll probably finish those. So if we can get the special morphs mostly knocked out by 3 o'clock, we'll then turn our attention to maybe Marvel's Designer and blocking out vampire girl outfits. So those ideally, well, if I do one for CG Bites, it'll be out September probably. If I do one for Daz, maybe October, just in time for Halloween. But right now we're going to do And I'm going to redo the textures on this. I'm not happy with this. Let me do that real quick. What I want to do is I have zippers on both sides, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to not have a zipper showing on the outside, and this will be covering the unzip on the inside. We can kind of show how that's going. And I realized I was low on disk space on the C drive, so I'm hoping I can get that kind of cleaned up. Well, I got too much stuff in my downloads, so if I clean out my downloads, I'll probably have enough drive room. So but I'm not going to do that. And that's not what I want. I wanted my Explorer because we're going to go to projects and grads and graduation outfit and runtime and textures and this and grads outfit. And what I want to do is I want to touch up these and I want to get rid of. I think I can just do this with Photoshop. And let's take a look at how we're looking right now. So I'm gonna do a render of this so we can kind of see what it looks like. I was thinking because I'm not quite getting the zipper to line up quite right. So I'm going to turn this into this side here is the one on top. So I'm going to just make that cloth as if it's just laying over the zipper. And so in Photoshop, we're just going to use the clone tool to just paint that out. So that's the plan for that. So we're going to try to knock that out real fast here. I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, see you when you get back, Charles. Did I not? There it is. Is Photoshop whining? It's not whining about lack of space anymore. Okay. That's fine. You know what I think I can do? I think I can just use the clone stamp and just clone stamp here and just take this out like so. I think I'm just going to do that. I think I'm going to change the color on this black too. That's black on everything. So while I'm doing this, oh, on some of them, I think it's going to be, I think the black looks especially obnoxious on the white and the yellow. Possibly the pink, but I'll take a look. So we're going to touch that up too. Open with Photoshop. I'm just going to zip in here. We're just going to alt that. We're just going to get rid of that. Save. This is so much easier than redoing this in Substance. Open with Photoshop. You know what? Just click, click, and click. Hit save. Should be good. Actually, let's take a look. So we've redone this. So let's see. I think you can probably still see a little bit of that zipper in there. Oh, and I got to tweak the bump map so it's a little smoother. And I might slide the geometry a little bit. You know, something like that. So I don't need you open anymore. All right, you're good. Green is done. Maroon. Okay, 4 down, 6 to go. Navy. I'm going to tweak the color of my navy while I'm at it. It's a little too saturated and light for what I want to do. Also, that doesn't. I'm going to touch that up too. So I'm going to do a control Image adjust hue and saturation. I think I just want to make that darker. Probably good. I think I want to darken these up too. Those are the that's the stole. Um, so we'll just pop in. Let's let me make that smaller. I'm going to expand that just a hair. Select modify, expand. I'll just save that, and then I'll just hue and saturation that. Probably kick the saturation up just a hair. Take the darkness down. I should have paid attention to what I'm doing here because I got to do that with the tassel too. Uh, See, that kind of matches. I like that. Oh, did I get the? I didn't get the zipper on that. Clone stamp. Clone stamp. I was there. It is. All right. Orange. I'm okay with the weird orange there. I'm not going to touch up most of this. Maybe I'll touch the purple up. Now I'll leave that alone. Open with Photoshop. Click, 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 save. Open with Photoshop. I don't know, maybe I will darken that up. That just looks a little too light. Let's see if we can find a happy number for that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to drop a template in here. That's probably good enough. All right, let's expand that just a little. Select, modify, expand. And then we can just hue and saturation that. Probably good enough. Okay, moving along. We are now on red. Did I want to touch up the black on the orange? We're going to go back and touch up the orange a little bit. Because I'm going to get rid of this black on here. Do I want to get rid of that? That's okay. Clone stamp. Well, by the way, what's the shortcut for that? S. I'm never going to remember that. Let's see. Can I just... That's a pretty nice selection. I'm just going to clone stamp partially over that. And I think I'm just going to adjust the opacity. Problem with that is, so what I can do is just do that. See, that looks nice. Okay, hit save on that. I'm going to also tweak the orange. I think I'm just going to go with this color over here. So we're not going to do anything fancy with that. We're just take the clone stamp and put it back to 100. Where did my clone stamp go? There you are. All right, where are we? We've got white and yellow. We definitely want to tweak the black on that. Open with Photoshop. Do I want to? I think I'm going to maybe try to lighten that up just a. Nah, I think I would. Yeah, let's see if we can lighten that just a hair. I'm just going to expand that just a little bit. And then we'll image hue and saturation, image adjust hue saturation. We're just going to lighten. Alrighty, let's break out the clone stamp. All right, let's click there and I'll get rid of that. I'm going to do a partial. So let's just click there. We're prepping that. We'll do that with like maybe a 66 or 70, somewhere in there. And then we'll just clone stamp that in. And I still have my zipper in there. It's hard to see because it's close to the color of the white. And we got yellow left to do. So that kind of fixes that. I'm still at, put you back to 100. And I'm just going to do 100 over here as well. So get rid of you. Come over here. Select that. I'm going to dial that back just a hair. I think that'll be fine. Maybe I will not use 100. We'll use a little. And then that's just going to give me an olive. Let's activate. We'll just clone stamp it, which is a bright. And we'll just do that. It's probably fine. You know what? I am going to use 16. All right, let's do this again. Hopefully my color selection's in the same spot. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, I think we're good. Let's close all of these. Should be good. Okay, that's what I wanted to do for fixing that. Right now we'll move on to special morphs. For that, we're going to use our 2024 version of Marvelous Designer. I double checked. There's a new version of Marvelous Designer out. It still does not let you make morph targets, which you import does not match what you export. And I don't know what Marvelous Designer is doing. Somebody complained about it over on the Marvelous Designer forums. Somebody said, I'll look into it. And that was like April, March. In every new version, I just take a quick export just to see if it's broke or not. Why are you? No. What do you mean? Just log me in, damn you. Okay. So this is the closed version. So we're just going to make a couple of hanging morphs and a couple of on the ground morphs with this. I think. Or do I want to do? That's all I'm going to do. And then we're going to save the undone versions, and those will have some open morphs. All right, we're there. Let's position you so we can kind of see chat while we're doing this. I can use the same morphs for both Genesis 8 and Genesis 9 because they're basically not on the character morphs, so they'll look fine either way. As opposed to the open morphs, because it's on the character, I can't use the same open morph for Genesis 8 and Genesis 9 generally. Even if I account for the shift in the space, which I've done before, it still doesn't quite line up. Okay, I am import add obj to garment. This is not what I wanted. Oh, that's because I was making morphs on the Feral Fury outfit last year. This is pretty close. Right in here. Graduation, that one right there. That's actually sized for generic Genesis 9, so I can use it for everything. The size doesn't really make a difference. Except if it's too big of a size, then when you dial the morph in, you can actually see the difference in the scaling. Genesis 8s are a little bit larger, although in this case, it's the same size garment. I didn't scale it up to fit Genesis 8. I just morphed it to fit. Anyhow, let's do that. This is running a little slow because I don't think it has a. There we go. Does that make a difference? Oop. I'm gonna try that again. Fast GPU. Let's see how that goes. I'm gonna give that a little extra thickness. Okay, that's an on the ground. File export obj selected. We're gonna double check and make sure it's good. And here in morphs, I'm just gonna save you right there. Yes, please replace. Thin, welded, and in meters. Okay. I think that went okay. Over here, this is the Genesis 8 gown. So we'll load this morph target in here. Right there. Is good. Huzzah. I didn't want simulation. I want parameters, morphs, on the ground. All right, is good. I'm going to set you to 5. All right, we're going to do another one where it's just kind of laid out flat. And this is the closed version. I might do some extra versions for the... Actually, let's try. And then we'll let it relax. And that's on the ground too. All right, we're going to undo you back. I should probably just re-import. Should probably be faster. File, import, add obj to garment. It's over here, right there. I'm going to hang this on a hanger now. All right, let's go get our hanger. I'm hiding a hanger over here in projects. Hanger 02 is the one I've been using for a couple years now. It's a little bit thicker than a normal hanger, and it also has these just in case to help hold things in place. So, you know, any generic hanger should kind of fit. It's having issues creating a T-pose. All right, I'm going to bring the hanger right about there. We're going to just put you up over in here. We'll just simulate that. Let it, oops. Let's add some friction to that. Oops. What I should, you know what? I'm going to do a pin on avatar. So we're going to come over here, tack on avatar. And what I'm going to do is then I'm going to just tack that to that. Tack that to that. Should hold it in place. I'm going to add a little more thickness to this. It's probably going to be good enough. That tack is... I think I'm going to lower the gravity down. We'll undo those tacks and see if it'll hang on there with lower gravity or not. That's probably good enough. File, export OBJ selected. Hanging. Oh, one, and I'm in the wrong folder here. Put it there, and the whip. And put that right there. Okay, let's get rid of that. Oh, you know, that should be gone. All right, I'm going to pin lasso and just grab a little bit of this. And that'll be another hanging morph. Are you not moving? There we go. Let's put a little more gravity in here. I want that hanging so it's not quite touching. Probably good. And that'll be hanging out too. All right, so that takes care of those. We're going to do special morphs for the stole. Let me put this into one of the gown folders. File, import, add, OBJ to garment. Come over here. I am looking for a stole. Do I have a stole too? If so, that's probably the one I want. You know what? That's probably... I'm going to go with that one. Let's do a... Okay, before we move along, let's get those loaded up in here. Import there is Morphloader Pro. Choose more files. Hanging to on the ground is good. Yay. All right, let's go into edit mode. We're going to format these. And I have a script for that. There we go. So now this is under special and it's got cool colors. All right, let's save those. And I'm just going to save the specials. So everything else should be good. All right, I'm going to get rid of you. All right, we're going to load these into the Genesis 9 version as well. I heard a noise. What did I hear a noise? Celis Australia is raiding with a party too. Celis, thank you for the raid, man. Good to see you, buddy. I'm working on graduation gowns. I'm making special morphs. Oh, that's right. We did the sounder for Celis, and his command actually works now. Yay! I'm doing well, thanks. How you doing? How's the garden? I didn't look today. I wasn't really paying too much attention to Twitch today. Chris the Crippled wasn't streaming. Wah. Oh, you had the day off. Most excellent. We're adding morphs. There we go. It's kind of hard to see what's going on in here because it's black. So I just added some morphs to this outfit so that you can hang it off a hanger. You can hang it off a hook. Cutting up hedging for the tip. Oh man. So take a day from work to work. Dang it. Oh well. That's looking good. I'm going to format that and then save it out. Use my super duper handy script. Do that. There's saves there. We're going to export these out. And then I'm going to do, we have a stole that goes with the gown, so we're going to do a few more for those. So that's done. I'm in here. So what we have is, here, let me quickly, we got this little graduation outfit with a robe and the stole and a hat, and we got a little tassel that goes with it. So that's what we're working on. Right now, I'm going to add a special morph to the stole. Basically, we're going to hang it on a hanger, hang it on a kind of a hook, and then do a couple on the ground real quick. So on the ground is real easy. We just let it drop on the ground. So I'm going to save that. Actually, I got to do a little organization here. I got to get these out of the way. So I'm just going to put them over here. I don't want to override them just in case. This becomes on ground 01. Save that. Okie dokie. Okay, I'm going to lay this out flat if I can. So are you planning to do a set? I wasn't really planning on that. And you know what? You could put this on a priest. I don't think I'm going to do a priest texture though. But it's kind of the same thing, right? Only you do it with white with all right, let's export that. O2. I mean, if you had the patience, of course you could throw the hats into the air. Save that. Nope, I named you wrong. Let's try that again. You know what? You're supposed to be over here in morphs. Dangy. Dang you. That's right. Make it white. Add some crosses on the stole. You're good to go. You're ready to take confessions. All right, let's. I'm going to put this on a hanger now. You know what? I'm going to re-import this. It's probably easier to do it like that. Instead of trying, my undos are acting funky. There's graduation stole. Get that in here. All right, let's get my hanger object in here. That one right there. It says hanger 02. It's my generic hanger. So I'm just going to bring this up like so. Reposition you a little bit. Do that. Stop that. All right, we're going to export that. Oh no, I'm totally lost in space. Right in there. Hanging. 01. Okay, let's back that up. Let's get rid of the let's get rid of that. Okay, we're just gonna grab a little of this and hang it again. Just a little like that. I'm just centering it up just a little bit. Probably good enough. Right about there. All right, export that. That's hanging 02. And that should finish the, and then now I have to put these on the two stoles. All right, let's load those into here. There's my morph loader. Choose a morph file. Those are them right there. Looking good. Accept that. Nothing bad happened, so I'm gonna say that that worked. We'll just double check real quick. I'm just gonna hide you. So that was the one where we had it on the hanger. This is the one we were just grabbing it by one point, so that works. Then we have our couple on the ground. So those are looking fine. All right, let's color those and call them special. And then save that. And I'm just going to save the special morphs, not everything. It doesn't really make a big difference, but I'm just going to do that. It runs just a hair faster. All right, so that one's done. I have one more stove for Genesis 8. Got to put these morphs on, so we're going to pop that in here. And then we're going to make the gowns so they can be opened up. That's the next step. I got 14 minutes. I'm going to do that. And then I'm probably going to move on to making sexy vampire costumes. I'm in the wrong thing. There it is. Where's my outfits? Oh no, they're over here. You're not supposed to be over here. You're supposed to be over here. All right, let's select that and load in those morphs we made for this one. Looking good. It's no, but by the time the outfit gets to the Daz store, it will be. Hopefully. Hopefully it won't be past Halloween. Can I cross my fingers anymore? Not quite the same. Don't get old. I think those are good. Did I saved these. Or maybe I didn't. I can't remember now. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't save these yet. Okay. It's because I got distracted. I know you have to do that. You gotta be thinking ahead. Otherwise, I get them in time for Christmas. If you're not thinking ahead and you start in October making your vampire costume for Halloween, it'll be ready for Christmas. Um, hey, Willie. All right, thanks for popping in, though. Good to see you, buddy. We're working on the graduation outfit. If you stick around for just a couple seconds, I will show it off after I save these morphs. Before I forget. All right, we're good to go. I'm going to just delete all of that. Let's come back over here. So here's how the graduation outfit's looking so far. I'll just do a quick little render. So we got our gown, we got our stole, we got our cap, and we got our tassel. Um, we're heading in the right direction. I think my collar is a little too large now that I'm looking at it. Of course, now I'm at that point where I really can't change it, so we're stuck. I've been experimenting. I can actually get this over clothes without too much problem. So I was experimenting with my 1950s rebel outfit, and I was able to get this fitted on top of that without too much problem. I'm going to see if I can get this fitted on some dress sets, but there's morphs in there that'll expand it out so it fits over clothes, so you don't have to be naked underneath. Although I'm not saying that you don't that you have to wear clothes. We're looking at you, Sarah. Anyhow, so that's what we're working on right now, and I'm going to set the undone versions. I need to actually put this on a character before I save it. It can be, if you want to be a naughty graduate, you can. But I'm making it so that you can actually get clothes underneath it. So, and it seemed to work okay. It kind of depends on the clothes you're putting underneath it and how it's made. So no guarantees. I have a relatively high confidence I can get it on some of my outfits. But beyond that, I'm going to get a Genesis 9 in here. The hat alone will suffice. And I'm going to do the gown. We're going to do a little bit of tweaking here. We're going to rename this. Do I have one in here already? Yeah, I'm going to clean all of this. I got a bunch of garbage in here. Let's clean that up and let's redo this. Okay, should be good. We're going to do this for Genesis 9 and Genesis 8. We'll start with Genesis 9. We'll come over here, edit scene identifier. This is going to be graduation gown opened. We'll do that. Graduation gown opened G9. The rest of this is good, so I'm going to accept that. I'm going to pop over here to the geometry editor. Go into tool settings. So we are looking for this right here. It's the two thin little strips that holds everything together. We're going to select that and delete it. Geometry editing. Delete selected polygons. Yes, please. We'll do a quick test with this. Okay, the dishes are calling. All right, catch you later, Willie. All right, let's run the D-Force and see if it comes apart nicely. I think we're good. Of course, for Charles, it will stick, but for the rest of us, it works fine. All right, let's clear that, and let's save this. All right, let's pay attention to what we're doing today. Genesis 9, clothing, me, outfit, gown. I'm going to say open. And this is grads, me, grads gown, open G9. And the rest of that looks good, so I'm going to save that. We're going to do the same thing for Genesis 8, then we're going to close down and reopen it. Just make the opening back. I know it's a little long for Sarah too, isn't it? All right, I think we're good with that. We'll load a Genesis 8 in here and we'll do the same thing. Just leave this running. Let it stay where it wants. Yeah. All right. Are you done yet? There we are. All right, let's run back over here to the Genesis 8 directory. Let's get the Genesis 8 gown in here. We'll do the same thing. I think I might make the opacity a little less opaque. I have to render it. I can always just go in and adjust the levels a little bit so it's not. I think it might be just a hair too opaque. But I know that's the way Sarah likes it, but it's maybe not quite accurate. Um, Geometry editor, tool settings. I've got the wrong thing selected. Let's select that. So let's take this zipper attachment, select geometry editing, delete, yes. We'll just do a test run, a test simulation, just to make sure that comes apart. See, that'll be fine. I'm gonna cancel that, undo that. All right, we're ready to save this. Let's go to the scene identification and update that. Say opened, opened. Rest of that should be good. Accept that. And then we save you, but not over the Genesis 9. Right there. And me, the product is grads. Grads gowned opened G9. Excellent. Okay, so now I can't. Daz gets confused after I changed the geometry like this. So I'm going to close it down and reopen it, and then we can reload it, and it should be fine. Right now, Morse may not work, so I'm not even going to bother with that anymore, because then I can break it. It still might be broken. Over there for a minute. Let's relaunch Daz and just double check. You know what? I don't think I need you anymore. Oh, Willie's walked away, so he doesn't get to see the AI waffles. Anyhow, anybody else who wasn't here earlier, it is National Waffle Day, also National Peach Pie Day. So I'm drinking milk with some coffee in it. I guess you can call that a cafe latte. Did I not start Daz? I thought I did. Apparently, I clicked on it too early. All right, I just want to load these up and see how they're looking. The ones we just saved. So we're just kind of making sure that the Morse work, so I don't cry too much later tonight. We'll check the special Morse. Yay! So we can do some more special Morse for the open versions. So we're going to make our open Morse. I'm probably going to have an open. So we'll probably have 1, 2, 3. Actually, we're probably going to have open left 1, which will be just moved over slightly, but not exposing the breast. Open 2 will kind of expose the breast. Then we're just going to have right off shoulder 1 and off shoulder 2. Then we're just going to do the same thing on the left. Opened up a little bit, opened up all the way, off shoulder, and then off shoulder 1's completely off. Then I might need some both morphs depending. So both would be open a little bit, opened all the way, off the shoulder. Off the shoulder completely for both is actually called on the ground. Because that's where it ends up if you take it off both shoulders. So anyhow, that one's looking good. Let's double check the other one. And then we're going to move on to making vampire outfits in Marvelous Designer. Because this is in really good shape. I'm making good time with this. And if I can get going on a vampire outfit, maybe I can crank out another submission to Daz next weekend and still get this over to CG Bytes end of the week. I'm moving some of my catalog over to CG Bytes soon, so keep an eye out for that. Poor Loki was doing the migration when we were chatting on Saturday night. So much work. Oh, I don't envy the dude. Um, Genesis 9 clothing me. Oh, there's the gown open. All right, fingers crossed. Let's come up here. Yay. Those are looking fine. Yo, S-Rum, how are you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. I'm making a graduation gown today. I'm actually done playing with this for the day. But since you're here, I'll show it off real quick. I've already forgotten what you were playing on. Oh, you were doing Vinyl Nation. That's right. You're doing Vinyl Nation. It's funny. Somebody in the chat mentioned that they had one of the albums. I had one of the albums they showed when I was a kid. One of the scenes they showed that Jungle Book album. I'm going, we had that. And I remember we had a giant console player. It was like a whole I forget what you called these things. Um, but it had like two speakers on the side and a cabinet in the front, and it would open up in the top, and you had your record player and your radio inside there. There was a little slot on one side where you could keep some records. We actually had what was it, 78s? Some of the records we actually had were 78s, 78s, 33s, and 45s. You were not expecting to IRL know a bunch of people in that direction. That is cool. That is really cool. Anyhow, this is the outfit I'm currently working on. Little graduation set. I'll do a quick render, and then we're moving on to Marvelous Designer, and I'm starting some sexy vampire babe outfits. Yes, back then. Back then you had 20-inch televisions. They weighed a ton, and they were huge. So anyhow, I'm happy with how this is coming along. Although I think my opacity is a little high. We might make that a little thicker looking. But so I've made some good progress on this. I should be able to send this over to CG Bytes by the end of the week. Yes, they had tubes. I remember the tubes in the back of our television. They had the little guide that told you what tube went where, I think, taped to the inside. If something went on the fritz, you would try to find the tube that burnt out and replace it. That was our TVs in the 60s. Our TVs in the 70s were a little more advanced than that. Although they were still. I don't know when I got a color television. I don't know if my. I don't actually remember a color television when I was living with my parents, which would have been up to like just after, till about high school, or a little after. Um, Although I want to think they had one when I was in college, but we didn't have one when I was in elementary school for sure. I remember the first time I saw Star Trek in color in like the early aughts. I'm going, oh my gosh. It's like the back of my mind always knew Star Trek was in color, but when I actually saw an episode in color and just how colorful it really was, oh my. They like used colored lights on the backgrounds and things. And now it's only us backward living guitarists still using tubes. Yeah. All right, anyhow, I'm done with this. I'm moving on. We're going to go play with Marvelous Designer. I don't know if I left any of my research up. I did. We go shopping at fast fashion. Fast fashion's evil, by the way, but it's a fairly good resource for ideas. Not gonna lie. You had your own TV back in my day. We had 5 channels, and we liked it. Actually, there was six. There was six. We had 6 channels. And Star Trek and Gilligan's Island was on Channel 2. And that's where I think I watched every episode of Gilligan's Island and every episode of Star Trek when I was a kid. Those I remember. Anyhow, I like this. I'm going to kind of use this as a idea for an outfit. I like the sleeves, and I want to do kind of a collar thing to go with it. Maybe not that one, but there was a collar that. Let me see if I can find it. Alt tab. Maybe something like that. Maybe like this. It'll attach to the top of the dress. Um, I think I'm going to actually, you know what? I think I'm going to bring the dress across. We'll bring it up. We'll bring the sleeves down. I'll bring a line through here. We can kind of put panels on the sides that we could put transparency patterns on if we want. I think the collar will then come like up around and back and stick up a little bit higher. And then we're going to have these big floppy sleeves. So it's going to be kind of like this. I'm going to have a hard cut here. The collar will come up and around on this. I'm going to have panels that'll come down here. So we can put like transparent spiderweb patterns on the sides. You saved up your 2 allowance to buy an Atari. Oh, wow. Yeah, I get that. I remember we had an Atari. I remember when Pong came out. Charles probably remembers when Pong came out. There's this little pizza place that we would stop by sometimes that had like this table with a Pong machine in it. You could sit on either side and play. All right, Marvelous Designer time. All right, there we go. Let's fit you so the I can still see the chat and the good people can see the entire screen. Let's go past that. Let's get this up above. All right, as I normally do, we're going to use the Genesis 9 female for our base here. We're going to make this for the Genesis 9 female and the Genesis 8 female. I'm going to start blocking out the pattern in here. I think I'm going to want to come across, come up and I want to come up and around because we're going to run the collar off of that. So let me start blocking, kind of blocking this out. We'll do pen on avatar. If I can find, there it is, 3D pen avatar. We'll use that. And I'll start blocking, we'll start here. This is going to come up to here, and we're just going to kind of come straight across to about there, because then I want to drop down for the armhole a little bit. This will come down the side. And then that'll attach there. That is annoying. And then I want to kind of bring this. You know what? I'm going to bring you up like this. And we can put an armhole in here. And then I'm going to put a yoke in the back. Somewhere about in here. And then you can come up here. Now we have a good base that we can put that collar on. Okay, then you... I'm going to come back around here with an armhole. This to here, and then up to there. I'm going to... and then I can attach a sleeve. The sleeve will be kind of tight, and then we'll flare it out, and we'll put scallops on the end. I gotta fix that, so let's edit. It was straight until I clicked on the very end, and then it went crooked on me. And I'll put and then we can kind of add the skirt in here. I want to drop a line straight down here as well. And you know what? Since I'm doing that, I'll just kind of put you like that, and then we can 3D pen avatar. And you know what? I'm probably going to move this over so that I just cover that a little bit better, so I can maybe put a panel or something in here. Or you know what? I might just put lacing in here down to close to the belly button. Where's the edit? So this is actually going to have a little more angle on it than going straight up. That's going to kind of come through here. I'm either going to put a panel in here that I can put like a spider web pattern on. And also, you know what? I should drop. I'm going to move you over, and then I'm going to drop a line down there. And maybe we drop a line down here. Am I in edit? I am in edit. Yeah, let's put you like that. And then maybe so I can add like side panels. Oh, there's the SROM command. That's right, the SROM command has sound now too. This is close enough. Let's put this together and see what we got. Did you? I didn't want you to connect like that. Did you connect like that over here? Oh no, you're still fine. Okay. Oh, you're the front panel, aren't you? Okay, where did you go? You're there. All right. All right, let's these are rough pattern pieces. I'm going to make refined versions of these. I'm going to line you up like that. You're going to go here. I'm going to make this one piece. Although I can't. Which one are you? I can't tell what you are. Oh, you're. Oh, I got those backwards. Doy. And I think I'm going to make this more strap. And then what happened to the front panel? Oh, I haven't done the front panel yet. I must have accidentally deleted it. Um, mm, there we go. I'll start with this one. Um, so we'll start with a polygon and then we'll work from there. And I just kind of quickly rough these out. We'll switch this to transparent. We'll adjust the curves a little bit. That goes there. This is going to come here. Nope. Come on. Why am I not getting another point in here? What the hell? Give me. Yeah, V. Come on. Can I just add? You know what? Some rocket scientist at Marvelous Designer broke something. That one's working. Anyhow, this is fine. I can get rid of you. I'm gonna draw. I'm just gonna make this a single panel over here. There to there. Come in to like somewhere in there. Something like that. Something like that. That's going to get curved in like that. That becomes part of the armhole. I probably need to adjust that, and we're going to curve you in just a little like so. Move you out of the way and get rid of these two. Oops, I had too much selected. Let's try this again. You're connected. What do you mean you're connected? No, you're not supposed to be connected. I don't know. Maybe I can just delete all of these piece at a time. How come you're broken? Why do you hate me so, Marvelous Designer? Why? All right. Let's try this again. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to kind of remember what I need to do here. Also, let's lose these. Let's put you over here. At some point, I'm gonna need to, let's put a little bit of curve there, there. And you know what? I think I'm gonna put a little curve in here. We'll tweak these up. Let's do this now. Let's put some curves into that. And oh, I need to put the armhole in here, don't I? You know what? I'll put the split right. I'll just put a split point right there. Nope. Let's try that again. Maybe take you over a little, and then I could probably put a curve in here. Let's try that again, because apparently, oh, I got a point in here that I don't need. Or let's get rid of you. I now have too many. Despite the fact I didn't make those, I decided to add all these extra goofy ass curve points because it likes to do that. We'll see how this goes. I'm of course I undo it, it all goes away. Not just the last point, the entire thing. Okay, you I'm gonna get rid of. And let's get you drawn in. Curve that. Curve that. Get rid of you. You know what? I'm just going to sew this up and then fix it. And I'm pretty sure I just want to... Oh, I didn't do this one yet, did I? I think I'm just going to make that a box. Panel in the front. We'll see how that works out. I should measure. I'll do 100 by whatever this is. 306.3. All right. I should have moved a bunch of these before this. Oh well. Oh well. That'll go back there. This comes over here. These are side panels. This should look janky, because I'm just quickly slapping it together. Put you on the side. Let's stick these above the shoulders. All right, I'm going to turn gravity off for a little while here. Otherwise, everything's going to try to fall away. All right, let's see how this is. So that's my starter. So my seam lines aren't even, so I know I got to go back through and make sure that these all kind of line up. Although that, you know what, that's not too bad. I'm in the ballpark. That needs to be a little fixed. That is just a little. We can adjust that. And then what I want to do is I want to take a collar piece and attach it, this big kind of floppy, something like that, only with a little bit more in the back. And so this goes behind the arms, but I'm going to come up around the back of the neck and down again, is what I'm thinking. And I'm probably going to have deeper scallops, but something kind of like that. Anyhow, I'm going to go through and I'm going to fix all my links. You know, that's a nice line down there, though. I could fix that a little bit. And these will probably get welded. Probably not. So I know these two are good because I measured that one out already. So we're just basically going through it. And I want to curve you a bit, don't I? So you're more of an armpit. Maybe bring you down. Maybe bring you. Maybe bring you. I don't know. Well, I know I wanted 255.9. 240.9. I can fix, I'm going to make this 240.9. So that lines up a little nicer. That's got a little, and that's coming from this angle here. So if I put a little bit of a curve in here, and then I gotta kind of bring it back. They changed the way this works. That's why I used to be able to just click on this and it would create a point. Now I actually have to tell it to split. A little annoying when they, for whatever reason, decide to change the behavior of a tool. It just made more sense that way. To Bert. And if it makes sense to Bert, that's what we want to go with. I like that. I'm going to attach this. I'm probably going to, you know what? I'm going to just sew the skirt onto this. Do I want to put a band on here for this skirt? I don't know. I'll think about it. All right, let's fix. I'm going to pull this point up so I can kind of. No, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to think what I want to do here. I think maybe I'm just going to pull this down. And that'll start looking like a corset top. And I think that angle's not exactly good. Let's tweak you. I know that's a little off now, so we'll readjust that. I think I could stand for that line to be a little shorter. And I think maybe move this in. Bring that up. Adjust that so those angles are a little nicer. Bring you back around. Oh, I have to put a sleeve on that, don't I? Maybe not. Maybe we just put the sleeve on. maybe just put the sleeves without attaching to the dress. Um, I think I'll try to put sleeves on here, which means I want to pull these up a little higher. That could probably stand to be a little further back. Okay, so we want to make sure that this is, that says 46.6. We'll change that to match. You know, I'm just going to pull this corner out. And then I'm just going to get this to fit that length there. So 1424. 142. I'm not even going to get it that close because I'm going to make some shape changes to this, I think. But I do know, okay, so we are going to adjust that so it snaps over into this corner. And that's going to come like that. And now this is too long. That's better. Okay, I need a curve in through here. That'll be good. Because I don't like that. We're getting there. These aren't matching again. And that's a little. That's a little better. 466. All right. Change length. I actually want to expand it the other way, so we'll say end on that so that it goes out that way and say 46.6. Okay. I think that's looking good. I want this point in, so that comes down a little straighter. And maybe we push, or maybe not. What I probably should do is just put a strip through there. And then I can just run that strip down the side of the skirt, and we'll put some, yeah. Although what I want is, I kind of want to pull this back and bring you around. So let's try something like this. I'm going to do an internal line. We say 50. So that I don't, do I want to, not quite that far, maybe 40. So it's in there. And then I need to extend, and I need to reshape. You know what? I'm going to cut this and then merge these together and then refit it. So I'll cut and sew that. Let's try that. And then if I just merge these, I don't know how that'll work. So I didn't want it to, I wanted it to form a little bit better over here. I know what, I'm just going to merge those. I'm just going to do it. Let's try that again. Actually, let's go this way. What happens if I merge it like that? That kind of gives me, and then I can lose you. And you know what? Oh, those are so nasty looking, aren't they? Um, it's really weird. The tool for simplifying this is over here under edit pattern. While you can't see those points, but you only see them when you're over here in edit curve points. I feel like that if you're going to simplify it, you should be able to just do that right here instead of switching over to tool where you can't actually see those points. Then say optimize curve points. Okay. And now there they are. And then I'm just going to do the same thing over here. Optimize curve points. That just seems like a goofy implementation, honestly. And I want this to maybe, I actually want these to kind of be straight. So what I'm tempted to do is, you know what, let's try this. I accidentally created a point. Let's delete all curve points on that. Let's delete all curve points on this. I'm going to just straighten this up so it kind of snaps straight like this. So it's kind of nice. I'm not getting it straight yet. We'll fix that. Let's see if we can drag you back, and if you snap into a straight, there we go. I want to try that. This way I can kind of have a nice straight panel that comes down the side. I think that'll work. We'll tweak this. And then I'll convert you to a curve point. And probably need to adjust. And we'll adjust them that way. So I want to make sure that that's about the same length as that. 283.9 is my magic number. 283.9. And I want it to go that away. You know, those are pretty close. Then I want to make sure that this is the same as that. So that is 3189. Change length 318.9. Okie dokie. I'm happy with that. I think I'm mostly good. These aren't lined up yet, so let's fix this and this. And actually, you know what? I'm going to just make that straight. So we'll start with that. I'll get you lined up there. And we'll just kind of line you up so you're lined up with that. And now I know I want whatever this is, 106.5, to be that. Or do I want... No, we'll do that. Change length. 106.9, I think was the magic number. I don't see an arrow there, so let's switch that to say end. There we go. Let's tweak the curve on this. Looking good. All right. I think I've got the top started. Where am I? I've got 17 minutes for 4 o'clock. Um, Let me see if I can get a sleeve blocked in here. So whatever all that adds up, divided by 2. 4, 4, 5, 9. So that's like 4, 4, 6. So that's like 2, 2, 3. And so I'm going to put it here in the 2, 2, 3. Say okay to that. And actually, we're going to put the kind of the an S in there, and then I'll have to readjust it. So remember that number 2, 2, 3. Actually, can I mark? It would be nice if I could do that with a 45. I'm going to see if I can do it like this. There we go. And then I'm going to just put a cut on that. Get rid of you two. Okay, curve you into kind of a bell shape. I'm not entirely sure if that's exactly what I want, but I think I might. So that gets bent that way. And I can't do that anymore. Hey, now I need an extra step. What a great idea. Let's let's add some extra steps to what people have to do to what they want to do. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So that's 33383, I think. You know what? I'm just gonna grab this, shrink it down until that's about 223. I have to say, I'm getting annoyed. The more steps, the more clicks you do, the longer something takes, especially if you have to do it a lot of times. And somebody who decides to just add an extra little click for no real reason into a method of doing something, I don't know. I don't consider that a great idea. It's kind of the opposite. It's like stupid. It's like, why would you do that? Yeah, the workflow was it gets better, but I'm at that point where it's like they added an extra step. That's the problem. It's like they're making their program crappier. the OBJ exporter's been garbage since 24. That like it peaked at 24. They got the OBJ exporter, and then they started adding some extra features, which of course broke other stuff. Hey, but now you got these extra features that you don't really need, but your core usability. Eh. Quit your complaining. Quit your complaining. Just go back and make your swimsuit with a blender. I did that. I think my first outfit in the store's iconic bikini I did with Blender. I'm actually gonna redo that outfit for the so I'm pulling that from the old one from the stores, and we're gonna redo that one with a Marvelous Designer. And also for Genesis 9. The original one's only for Genesis 8. So I'm going to take all of the stuff that I've learned in the last 4 or 5 years and apply it to basically the first project. The iconic bikini is basically based off of the one Ursula Andress wore in Doctor No. It was probably a request, probably. Okay, so what was my magic number again? 223, right? I'm going to say okay to that. All right, that's now 223. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix by going this way first, and then we can come down this way. All right. I'm going to do that thing where we do that thing. Unfold the symmetrical editing. Yay. Okay, I'm going to measure this again. 225.9. You know, that is so close. Do I actually want to... You know what? I'm going to add 0.1. I'm going to add 1/10 of a millimeter to this. 103.5 is going to become 103.6, and it makes no difference to this length. And I'm going to go the other way because I'm neurotic that way. So now I know that this length equals that. So now we're going to sew this into here. I'm going to start, I think, around this way. And then you can come around to here. You know what? I don't need to do that. I need to break the linked editing on this already. All right, where were we? Okay, so that gets sewn into here. And then I need to get rid of you. You made some dynamic closing for using way back. Yeah, that was the advantage of Poser back then, right? When Optitext and nobody could make clothes for Daz. But you could make clothes for Poser. And I have Silo too. I liked Silo. Blender is just about as good as Silo was. Um, Silo I found real easy to model with. And UV mapping was really nice in Silo too. All right, we're going to attach you to here. I'm going to do that to there. Then we're going to finish it off. And that should more or less line up. All right, let's position you and see how we're looking. Silo's still around, by the way. I don't know if you caught that or not. Unfortunately, at this point, it doesn't behoove me to relearn Silo. That and the fact I've gotten used to Blender, and Blender's just got so many freaking tools in it. Okay, so I am a little long on this, so I'm gonna squat it down, and then we have to make it a little wider to fit. So we're gonna squat you in a little bit like that. Flatten you out a little bit. And then I'm going to just take this, and that needs to be 22.3, so change length, 223, change length, we want to go the other way, 223, okay. See, that looks nicer. All right, let's sew these two together. I think I still have to pull these in. Or maybe I'm going to pull it out. We're going to actually, yeah, let's extend this out first. And then we'll adjust the, because then we're just going to pull off the wide flanges on those sleeves. So I think right about there is where we're going to flare it. And so let's sew this together. Okay, so it's I got a little extra in here we can get rid of. I'm taking a look at my armhole though, just to make sure I don't have anything really goofy in there. That tension's pulling over a little, isn't it? Hey, it'll be fine. I can put my big collar off of that still. All right, we're going to do this in baby steps. Take off 20 at a time. All right, I got just a little bit of looseness in there. So I think if we take off 20 more, see, that kind of works. Then I can do offset pattern outline, say 250. I'm just going to say okay to that. Let's see, are we out? There we go. Then it's just a matter of shaping this. So let me sew this. It is just about, we're coming up on 4 real fast here. I should have the sleeves kind of done. So I'm going to count these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 is a nice even number because then I can just change the length on this and add 200 to it. Add 200, not so that becomes 3. There we go. So I think maybe something like that. I don't know, maybe we pull this back a little. And then I'm going to put scallops in here, I think. Let's take a look at our... That's even... I don't know if I quite want it that big. Maybe. You know what? Let's change length on that. Let's add 100 to that. We want it to go the other way, though. I'm going to cancel that because it got confused. All right, change length. I'm going to say end. We're going to add 100 to that. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Change length on that. Yeah, this is a vampire outfit. So hopefully it'll be out in October. I'm going to do 2 vampire outfits, I think, this year. Because I want to do some stuff for CG Bites as well. So I'm going to do a kind of a bodysuit vampire outfit, loosely based off of Gina Davis from Transylvania 65000. If you remember that, but she wasn't really a vampire. Um, I'm gonna just convert you to a curve point. Anyhow, so I'm gonna make kind of a bodysuit like that. Although probably a little different when I get going. And I'm going to match that with some thigh boots, and I might put a cape with that. I'm still thinking. She had a cape that was attached on her arms and to the back, and I might put a cape that's attached to her wrists in the back so that when she puts her arms out, the cape would uh, fold out. So I kind of liked that look. But Daz might not like that so much. Because, we got to make stuff that works in Daz without being too tricky. It's one thing for me to be able to use it in Daz. It's another thing for somebody who just loads and simulates to be able to use it in Daz. And we need to make it so that somebody can just load and simulate it. Because we don't want to just sell to the 3 expert users out there. All right, I think that's going to look good. And we are almost, so I'm just going to dupe you. And then I'm going to add, so basically I'm going to extend or build some panels so that we can pull this down, and then I'm going to put a big triangle pattern attached to that, and probably larger triangles in the back. So my idea is this can have a transparency on it. That might be able to have a transparency on it, although I might just put it down. It's either that or I'm going to put laces across, or maybe I'll just because when I'm thinking spider web transparency. So and then we might not extend it down, but you could if you wanted to. And then I'm thinking down the sides would just have the spider web transparency on it down, and I think it'll be maybe a little shorter in the front and a little longer in the back, and then we'll scallop the edges like I'm going to do with this. And let me just dupe that over to the other side for now. And then this is going to have boots that'll come up to here. I have the witchy boots that I did a couple years ago. I'm going to cannibalize those. So I'm going to basically dig up the boots. Let me see if I can find this witch outfit. So I'm going to kind of use these as a starting point. And the bodysuit version that's based off the Gina Davis outfit will have thigh boots. Which, did I spell witch right? I don't know. Here, let me, it's probably easier just to go through my store. I got cap locks on. Why do I got cap locks on? Stimpy, you fool. Oh, by the way, I'm going to make sure that my graduation outfit works with this, the Letterman outfit. Also, I'm going to test it against my 50s Daisy outfit, too. Where does that goofy-ass witch outfit go? How old is that thing? I wish this had dates. Oh, you know what? I'm not even sorting by date, am I? We'll pop in here and we'll search. Of course, Daz doesn't want to show me what I own. Where are we at? I'm probably going to end up with boots that look kind of like that. Maybe I should, no. I'm going to redo, there it is. Dark Magic. Dark Magic. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to take this part of the boot and rework it to be a high shin boot and a thigh boot. And then the thigh boot version. So this will have the shin boots, and the thigh boots will go with the bodysuit version with a cape. And I still want to make it a big tall collar. I'm going to tweak this a little bit, I think, because it's pulling a little bit. I have to adjust that. Anywho, thank you all for being here. That's where we're leaving off today. So we got started on a vampire outfit here, which will have a skirt, and we'll make boots that goes with that, and we'll do it in black and reds. And we were also working on the graduation gown. So thank you all for being here. Hey, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. That would be awesome. If you're on Twitch, stick around. It is, by the way, National Waffles Day and also National Peach Pie Day. So there you go. Have a waffle or don't. But so let's see. If you're on Twitch, stick around. We're gonna find somebody to go hang out with. Oh no, my Twitch page is having problems. Am I still live? Looks like me. All right, I'm not going to route. It says I've been on for 2 hours, so we're probably okay. What I don't know. What is WebView 2 crashed? Or is it an invalid? This window will close. Oh no, StreamerBot died. All right, I think we're ready to raid. Let's find somebody to raid. Am I even moving? Am I alive? I can't tell if I'm streaming or not. OBS looks like it's okay. My browser's died. Hold on. Something crashed in the background. I seem to be moving now. Although I may have lost. I seem to be moving now. I may have lost my closed captions if anybody was using them. So with that, let's see who's on Twitch and go hang out with somebody else. Hey, check out Charles. Super cool cat. Oh yeah. It was good to see us, Celis here. Good to see you, buddy. Napsmore, we saw Napsmore. We had SROM music in the house. Definitely give SROM a follow. Check him out. He was actually streaming on Friday, and then again he was back on Saturday night this week. We were watching Vinyl Nation, a documentary about people who buy vinyl records. It's still a thing. And apparently it made a little bit of a comeback. So yeah, what are we doing? We're raiding. We're raiding. I gotta find somebody to raid. Hey, feel free to buy my stuff at Daz. There is that. Feel free to join the Discord if you haven't already. And also with that, we got the raid calls. If you're not a subscriber, you can use this raid call. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much, and you can use this raid call. And I'm going to scroll down like I normally do. I scroll down to the bottom of my follow list and then work our way back up. So we're kind of looking for art friends, and then maybe music friends, or then maybe friends. That's kind of the way we go about it. So I see Commander Biscuit is on. Call sign Scarecrow is on. Dan Ruby is on. Oh, my browser froze again. This is going to make rating kind of tricky. Anyhow, let's go over and say hi to, you know what, let's rate Commander Biscuit. If I can get this, uh, if I can get my browser working again. Hold on. Let me get my task manager here and we'll see what's, oh, Marvelous Designer is open in the background still. Damn it. Let's hit save on this. That's eating up all my memory. You know what? I'm just gonna drop it right here for now. Vampire 2026. Let's do that. I keep forgetting Marvelous Designer chews up all the RAM. Look at that. The longer, and all I have to do is just move the mouse, and it just says, "Oh, that VRAM's mine, 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 mine," until it's got all the VRAM tied up, and then nothing else is working right. So that probably will fix everything else, except my edges stopped working. I'm gonna just restart that. Hold on, we're rating here any minute now. Any minute now. And then restart, and then come over here, and we're going to go over and say hi to Commander Biscuit, who's doing art today. So I appreciate your patience. Mad Con, nope, 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 nope. Commander Biscuit, come on, come on, show more, show more. I went too far. There it is. Commander Biscuit's doing art. At least I think that's them doing art. They are doing art. Where art thou? And it looks like he's doing a Black Canary drawing. So let's go do that. So we got the raid calls. Hopefully you can get those. And let's slash raid and say hi to Commander Biscuit today. I will be back tomorrow, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll probably be working on the vampire outfits then. I should be closing in to finishing up the gowns. And then so a little bit of that and maybe a little bit more on the sci-fi tropical resort that I've been slowly working on in the background. So anyhow, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good rest of a Monday or Tuesday for those on the happy side of the planet. And with that, hasta la vista, baby. Hasta la vista? Hasta la vista. Something like that.